Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So when I was doing my meditation today to ask, what do people really need to hear? What I got was self-love. And I think that this is a topic that we need to hear about every single day because it's so super important. We often feel like we need love from other people to help us and to lift us up. And what we have to understand is that it's our own love, it's the love of self that really lifts us up and really fills us up. And there's so many people out there who are dealing with things like addiction or, and then when I say addiction, it doesn't mean necessarily to drugs and alcohol, but it can be. But it could also be addictions to other things like procrastination, when you're addicted to that. Or maybe you're addicted to shopping because when you go shopping, I know that this used to be a thing for me. Sometimes I would feel like, well, if I just buy myself a new outfit, it'll make me feel better. And it did temporarily. It would make me feel better for the day that I got to wear the new clothes. But that feeling of happiness, of euphoria, that only lasted for a short time. And many people use other things to fill up their lack, the hole, the thing that's missing in your heart and in your life. And I think that so many of us didn't get those things when we were growing up. And me, I am not of the let's blame our parents kind of thing, because let's face it, our parents were doing what they knew how to do from their parents. So in many cases, they didn't get the thing that they couldn't give us either. You can't give something to someone else that you don't have yourself. So for some of us, our parents weren't able to give us the unconditional love that we deserved. And so that was missing, and you had that lack. They didn't show us how to build ourselves up. I mean, really, if we were to think about the things that were truly important to teach in school, one of the things that we should really be teaching is self-love. And we teach a little bit about, having confidence and we teach about mindset sometimes. That's becoming more of a thing, which I'm really glad to see that that's becoming a thing in schools. But we don't teach kids how to love themselves. And let's face it, I know in my school, a lot of those kids are coming to me who don't have that, who haven't been given that, who haven't been taught that they should love themselves, that they should believe that they're good. They've been told the opposite probably. When children misbehave, if they don't have a solid foundation of love with their parents, and then those parents correct their children, many children take that internally. They internalize the being yelled at or the whatever and take it as, I'm not good enough. I'm not this awesome person because look how my parents feel about me. And there's a lot of things going on there. It gets really deep into psychology, but children often come to school missing part of themselves, missing the part that they should love themselves. And as adults, then we are people who also don't have that. If you had parents who were super critical of you, and I truly believe that a lot of parents were like this because they wanted us to be the best versions of ourselves. But when they were critical of us, we sort of internalized that as well and took it as, wow, I'm disappointing them. I'm not that great. And what it does is it creates this hole. It does a lot of things, honestly. It sets us up for patterns of being with people who also treat us critically. People who put us down and who take us for granted. And at least this was the case in my situation. And what I know is that it really does a lot of damage when you're trying to pick positive relationships in your life, it's like you have to totally unlearn what you really thought you knew, what you grew up with. You have to unlearn all of that. And it's about picking good relationships, healthy relationships. It's about seeing yourself as the beautiful, lovely soul that you are. Unfortunately, many of us don't see ourselves as this beautiful soul. We just remember the broken pieces of ourselves. And I think that one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is to learn how to love ourselves the way that we deserve, to be deeply and unconditionally loved. And for many of us, that's something we have to learn, and it's something we have to practice. Because when we don't learn that, we don't value ourselves, so we are okay with other people not valuing us as well, and that is not okay. It's not okay to allow others to take advantage of you or to pick relationships where people take advantage of you. And I'm here to tell you that if you're single and you're trying to find love, if you don't learn how to love yourself, you're going to continue to be okay with people who also don't love you the way you deserve to be loved. You'll be okay with people taking you for granted, neglecting you, not seeing your value because you don't see it yourself. And when you do love yourself, you will not allow anyone else to take advantage of you. You will not allow anyone to see you as less than your worth. People come to me sometimes and they'll say, okay, I'm trying to find a soulmate, but I don't know what to do and I don't know how to attract this person. And I've been there myself. I've thought that myself when I was first on this journey. Part of the reason that I started this whole journey was to figure out, okay, there has to be something going on. There's a reason why I'm repeating the same patterns over and over again. And I learned a lot. And one of the first things I learned is that it starts with you. It's not that, people say, well, why do I keep attracting the same type of person? The reason you're attracting the same type of person is because you are putting out the same vibes and the same energy, and you're expecting it to attract a different kind of person. But that's not what's going to happen. If you want to attract someone different, you've got to be different. Your energy has to be different, and you have to attract someone different. The only way that you can shift your energy is by working on yourself. Because what changes that energy is how we see ourselves and how we react to others. It's learning how to love yourself so deeply and completely. Because when you do that, you'll no longer even waste your time with anyone who isn't worth your time. You just won't allow it. And your friends and your family might say, well, you're being pretty picky. That's okay. Be picky because the right one is out there for you, and you're going to attract the right one by doing nothing more than enjoying yourself and living your best life. The universe has someone out there for everyone. In fact, there's more than one someone, but the right people will come into your life when you start working on yourself and you start fixing your own vibration, because we energetically call people to us. Whether we realize it or not, they could be all the way on the other side of the world. You don't know. But it's all about that energy that's attracting the people, that's calling them in. And it's amazing how it works. But I promise you that it's all about you loving yourself and shifting that energy. And even if you're with someone right now and you're happy in that relationship, it's still so important for you to love yourself. That's going to help you in every area of your life. When I used to go into job interviews, I would be so timid and afraid. And now, if I go on a job interview, I walk in there with such confidence. Not because I'm arrogant and I think that I'm the best person out there, but I know what I'm worth. I know what I'm worth. And I know that any place of employment would be crazy not to want me to be a part of their team because I know how well I work with others and what I can bring to a situation. Because it's all about me knowing my worth. So many of us were taught to bat away compliments and to, that whole thing we do where people say, oh, that's, you look so pretty today. And you're like, oh, me? No. We try to turn down a compliment, which is really stupid. But I know it's just I don't know, at least think my family taught me that, you don't want to come off as conceited, right? There's nothing conceited about somebody saying, oh, you look really nice today. Just saying, oh, thank you. Because I try to give people compliments. I like to notice good things about other people and tell them. I think everyone appreciates that. But for some reason, there are some of us who got into this habit of just saying, oh, no, that you can't be talking about me. And I honestly really don't know why we do this, but we need to stop doing that. We need to start, give yourself compliments when you look in the mirror. If you like the way your hair turned out today, say something to yourself, appreciate it. If you notice that you've been working out and you lost a little weight, compliment yourself, We need our own cheerleaders sometimes, and there's not always somebody around us telling us all of these good things about us. So we have to be our own cheerleader. We have to tell ourselves, hey, good job. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with building yourself up. If anybody should make you feel good, it should be you, It's so important. So if you're sitting there going, well, okay, I already know that I don't love myself, that I have this hole that I'm trying to fill with other things, whether it's shopping or whether it's drugs or alcohol or anything that you're just doing because you're filling a void. You might be thinking to yourself, how do I fix that? How do I love myself more? Because it's not always an easy thing to do when you've been told for so long that you're not good enough or been made to feel that way, whether it was directly or indirectly. It's hard to get out of that pattern. I think I heard one time somewhere that it takes 7 or 8 or even more compliments to combat one negative thing said about you. So if you can imagine, we probably have way more negative things that people have said or thought than the positive, just because of the statistics there, because of the number that has to equal it out. So unfortunately for many of us, we don't have the 7 or more positive and nice things said to us on a daily basis that would combat the one negative thing said. So we need to be doing this ourselves. And there are a lot of things you can do to build your own self-love. One of the first things that I always think is awesome is a daily affirmation, because it sets your mindset, it sets the tone for the day. So as you're getting ready in the morning, and the great thing about these affirmations is you can tailor them to be whatever you need them to be. So if I have trouble with weight, and weight is where I need to really work on things, you can find some that have to do with that. Like, my body is healthy. I'm getting healthier every day. I'm changing my habits so that I'm having healthier habits every day. You can make it specifically for whatever you need. And if you've never done affirmations or you just don't know which ones you need, do a little research. You can, if you have Pinterest, that's a great place to go, because Pinterest has all of these places right there. You can just do a search for affirmations about, and then put in whatever you need. If it's being successful, or let's say you just struggle with thinking that you're pretty, something like that. Put in those affirmations, search for that. You can do a Google search too, but I love Pinterest because then you can pin all of those affirmations to a board, and you can just pull that up on your phone and you can read them off every day. And you'll get to the point where you don't have to look them up because you'll just know them because they become a part of you. But it really does work, and it really does change your mindset we can ask our angels to help us see ourselves in a more positive light. I always say, help me to see myself as God sees me. And if we were to see ourselves the way that God sees us, oh my gosh, we would never doubt our worth again. You're so incredibly loved. So incredibly loved. It's unfortunate that we come here sometimes and we lose sight of that because we get put in situations, and honestly, I don't think anything happens like haphazardly. I believe that we've all planned what we're going to do and what we're going to experience when we come here. And I know people have questioned me on that before. I know I've had listeners say, well, I wouldn't have picked this. And I get that. I get that you would think that. I understand, because when I look back at my life, there are things that I think, why would I have picked that? That's horrible. But I understand what I've learned from what I've gone through and what it's taught me. So if our journey is to come here and to learn as much as we can and to up-level as much as we can, then it makes perfect sense that we would pick difficult situations, because that's what's going to cause you to grow. It's what's going to cause you to learn, and it's going to move you forward. It's during the time of trials that we really, really learn who we are, and we know how strong we are, and when we learn our biggest lessons. So I don't think it's any coincidence that you probably picked a life where you've had to struggle. That's where you're going to learn. And I know many of us have many struggles we've gone through. I've seen a lot of sad stories people have shared with me. I've heard them. I've seen them on Facebook. I know that many of you are going through a lot, and I sympathize with you. And I understand I didn't exactly have an easy life either. But I don't regret one single second of it, because I am who I am today because of what I went through. And I don't believe that I would be here helping others if I hadn't gone through that. I wouldn't know how to sympathize with you if I had a perfect life. You wouldn't relate to me if I was just this perfect person. You understand that I have flaws and that I've been through a lot, and that is what connects you to me. You've made this connection because you think, oh, she says a lot of things that have happened to me. And I know many of you have said that to me. And that's how I picked my mentor too, was, I was able to relate to her. We all need help getting through this thing called life. It's not easy. It didn't come with instructions. We don't have a physical roadmap. We just sort of feel like we kind of know the way, and we have to wing it sometimes. And we have a whole team, though, that's here to guide us. So you can ask your team to help you, too, in learning how to love yourself more. There are some great meditations out there. I have some guided meditations on my website if you want to check those out, and you can purchase them. But also YouTube, that's a great place to go for guided meditations. A lot of people offer them out there for free, which is just amazing. So great of people to do that. So if you need a meditation at night before you go to bed, you can do a meditation to help you build that self-love. The most important thing is your mindset. When those negative thoughts about yourself pop up, you've got to learn how to shift it. You've got to reframe it. When something negative pops up, it's rewind, delete. So if you think to yourself, I'm stupid, rewind, delete, and reframe it. I am capable, I am intelligent, I am talented. Reframe it. And I would do more than 3 things, just because you're really trying to reprogram your brain, and you're trying to shift your thoughts, and really, really trying to create a new reality for you. That's really what you're doing. So be very, very aware and conscious of your thoughts and the things that pop into your head. It's really about paying attention to what you're thinking throughout the day, because we can be so busy and go through life and not realize how much we're hating on our own selves because of our thoughts. Our thoughts are very, very powerful, and you are manifesting instantly with your thoughts. So when you are constantly beating up on yourself and critical with your thoughts, think about what that's doing and how that is shaping your reality. It is so super important for you to be mindful and really aware of what it is you're thinking on a day-to-day basis. So become more aware of what's going through your head. And as you notice and start to catch negative things popping up here and there, it's rewind, delete, reframe it to something that is going to build you up, not tear you down. We are our own worst critics, and we have to stop doing that. We have to be our own best cheerleader. It's up to us. No one else is going to do that for you. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. We're the ones who are responsible for our thoughts and how we frame our thoughts. So it is super important for you to be vigilant about catching those negative thoughts and erasing them and reframing them. You would be amazed at how much your life would change if you start doing that. I promise you. Some people find it helpful to keep a journal and to write down the thoughts they have throughout the day so they can physically see how abusive they're being to themselves. You know that's abusive, right? When you're beating yourself up, it's the same as if someone else did it for you. And you wouldn't allow anyone else to talk to you that way, so don't allow yourself to either. As you write down and journal the thoughts you're having, you can physically reframe them. And I would urge you to do that. And again, you can call on your spiritual team and ask the angels to come in and help you to be better about being kind to yourself. You deserve kindness more than anyone else. Well, I hope that you are all going to be better about being kind to yourself, because I love each and every one of you, and you deserve to live the best life possible. And that is not going to be a life where you are beating up on yourself. So be very mindful about how you talk to yourself, because you deserve the best. I wanted to pull a card for you guys today before I ended the podcast. So I pulled a card from The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And it is, I surrender to a power greater than me. You know, when you finally learn to start surrendering and realizing that life happens to us, we can't control every little single thing that happens in our lives, but we can totally control how we react to it and what our thoughts are when something comes in. You know, we can choose not to beat ourselves up over something that happens. Let's face it, we all do things in life sometimes that afterwards we think, well, that was stupid. But we need to stop thinking that. We need to realize, well, that was a learning process. That was a lesson. And let that go. Because when we continuously dwell on it and beat ourselves up, we're just tearing ourselves down, and we're not helping ourselves. Well, guys, I want to thank you for being with me. I hope that you have enjoyed this podcast. It would not be a podcast without Nala trying to chime in the background. I apologize for her. She barks at everything, but I've tried to keep that to a minimum. I want to thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, please share it with others. Please subscribe and please leave feedback. That helps others to find me. And my mission is to help as many people as possible. And you are all helping me to do that. And I appreciate you all so much. I want to thank you for those of you who've watched my Facebook Live. I am back. I will start doing the Facebook Lives again in the evenings this time because school is starting for me this week. So also my schedule now for Reiki and past life regressions and coaching will be limited to evening hours, but I will be working starting at 4 Central Time in the evening. And then weekends I still have during the mornings and afternoons. So if you would like to work with me, contact me. I have a lot of people who get a hold of me and say, I want to work with you, but I don't know what I need. absolutely email me, text me, call me. You can message me on Facebook or on Instagram. You can also just get a hold of me if you would rather book directly through me. I don't mind doing that. I do have it set up so that you can book on my website, but a lot of people prefer just talking to me because they'll ask me, what hours do you have? And we can kind of discuss it that way so we can get a better time for you. So if you'd rather talk to me and book through me directly, that's absolutely fine. It's perfect. I can always send you an invoice through PayPal and we can do it that way. A lot of people prefer that. That's totally fine. But if you're thinking about working with me, don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you and to work with you and help you blast through any blocks that are keeping you stuck in your life. I want to thank you again, as always, for supporting me, being with me on my journey. I hope that you guys have a fabulous day and that miracles begin showing up in your life in unexpected ways. I am sending you guys massive love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.